Hey, and we're live. Welcome back to Canna-Heads ND, Season 2. There's more to the story. We'll get into it here in a minute. Episode 1. So this is Season 2, Episode 1. Same thing with Canna Talk. It's Season 2, Episode 1 was uploaded yesterday. And basically, if you go on the podcasting platforms, it'll say it's Season 2. We'll kind of explain a little bit about what happened. But this is your once a weekish podcast for latest in cannabis, local and national news, with a possibility of it being about, well, some kind of politics, but not like super in depth type of politics. But uh,
Politics-ish.
yeah, politics ish. Actually, that's a good one. Yeah, so this is the new line right here. Your once a weekish podcast for latest in cannabis, local and national news, and some politic-ish. I don't know.
We're
I
gonna do
haven't
some
refined it
politic
yet,
and we'll figure it out as we go.
right? Um, Typically, we go for about an hour to an hour and a half. My name is Phil,
I am Anthony.
and yeah, welcome back to the show, everybody. Yes, I am clean shaven. um, I was bamboozled essentially. My girlfriend was just like, "Hey, it would look cool if you like shaved it all off," and I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was kind of standoffish at first, and she's like, "Well, you're gonna be wearing a mask anyway whenever you go outside, so like, no one's gonna know, right?"
Yeah, right.
So I go in the bathroom and I start up and everything like that, and about the first stroke, I realized that I had a stream today. So people will still see it. But yeah, I am slowly getting used to having a cold face at almost all times. Um, Straight up, like yesterday, it was a. First of all, like I'm still getting used to my face looking like this. Second of all, like I can feel the wind. I can feel the wind on my lower part of my face, and it's super weird. But yeah, just a little thing in there. But yeah, if you guys like these types of shows, like, news and talking about stuff and things like that, be sure to listen to KRFF Radio Free Fargo on 95.9 if you're in the Fargo Moorhead area. That goes on Thursdays, sorry, not from Thursdays, on Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. And that is with Greg Wilson, who is also Canna Talk ND. So I am doing the video stuff. The video or the podcast will be on the podcasting platforms either that night or the next day, just kind of depending on how we get things going. They're kind of changing things up at the radio station, so it might not be the next day, or it might be. It just really depends on how the radio station's kind of changing things up, and how we can get this figured out. But yeah, it'll be up there, and then the next day after it goes up on the podcasting platforms is when it'll go up on YouTube. Um, but if you want to get it right away, you can listen live on radiofreefargo.org, or you can listen live on, I think, TuneIn Radio does it as well. But yeah, that will tell you you can listen to it live. You can listen to it on any podcasting platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Those are like the three biggest ones. But we also are on like RadioPublic, anything like that. You'll see it in the description if you like scroll down in the description. I'm totally gonna go YouTuber mode. The description down below will have all the links. There we go. Also, since I'm going YouTuber mode, subscribe to the page. That thing up there, up on top, that is a subscriber count. We are at 221 subscribers. If you subscribe and get us to 300 by the end of August, I'll be happy. I don't really know, but I'll do something special. How about that? Closer to the 300, I'll kind of announce it, I guess. But we'll do something cool. And yeah, so just a little housekeeping. Canna Talk ND is a separate entity from ND Freedom of Cannabis Act, and we are completely separate now. And if you guys want to support the radio shows or my shows or anything like that, you can go to streamlabs.com/CannaTalkND, all one word. That's also in the description. And that looks a little something like this. You can donate, and it goes to a PayPal account. I shouldn't have done this today. I just realized this because the way that the account is set up, but I think the person that I've attached it to is cool enough to hand over the little amount of money that we would have gotten anyway. So yeah, you can donate there. And if you're wondering what happened, well, so let's do a little history first. Biggest question that everybody always has is, why are there two groups? Why is there legalized ND, and why is there the ND Cannabis Caucus? This happened after Measure 3. Measure 3 did not pass. It was on the ballot. It didn't get enough votes, so it failed. And a lot of the people who were involved with Measure 3, I wasn't involved at that time, there was a little bit of infighting, and there was a different view of how they wanted things to go again. Obviously, they were all ready to go again. It was just a different view, and that's the reason why you see there being a statutory and a constitutional petition. But that wasn't the only difference view. It was also a matter of how things were managed and who kind of had say in what and how it would be done. When I had come in, it was kind of figured out, but it still was kind of in the process of being figured out. And I was working on trying to get that figured out. We were talking about, like having a finance department and all that stuff. Just, having an ability to have some organization. And we seem to have sort of figured it out, but it was kind of in an unofficial type of thing. Like, this person knew more about this, so like if you had a question about something like that, you would talk to that person. But like nobody was like actually like talking and being like, I am the finance person. We did have a finance person, and then she was undermined. We had a tech person, and tech was me, Anthony, and Dave, and we're cool enough with each other that we never undermined each other. We had a media person, or like somebody who did media, and she was cool. She was the chair, actually, and she never got undermined. When I say undermined, it was kind of like, I am going to do whatever the fuck I want to do. And say whatever and do, like, if I want to fundraise, I'm going to fundraise only for my petition or my PAC, versus other PACs. And there was when this whole thing happened, I was very seriously considering dropping that conversation. But one thing that I will promise everybody is I'm going to be the better person here. I just figured that I'm going to kind of explain it. So I'm not taking shots at anybody. And I've decided not to. There's plenty. And unless my hand is forced in that, I won't. But, and we'll be talking a little bit more about what I possibly, like, what the idea of what possibly could have happened. But more in the sense of, like, I'm a video guy, so I know kind of how to raise emotion out of people type of deal. Scary music with dramatic booms and play the song, or play the thread. But yeah, Dave, I didn't do much. I did a little, but not nearly as much as you two. You actually did a lot, though. Like, when we had the issue with HTTPS, we had you help. It was more also like you kind of gave designer pointers as well. Just how we designed everything.
Mhm.
But yeah, we all did a lot. Like, that's the thing, is there was no, and that was my view on how I wanted things to run. Again, it wasn't just me running things, so like my 2 cents didn't really matter way too much, but it did matter a little bit. But like I wanted to make sure that hey, um, everybody gets the attention that they deserve and need. Hey, we want to make sure that everybody feels like they're a part of the group and have a hand in deciding everything. And that was undermined on almost every single sense and form. But yeah, so basically, on Friday, August 7th, I think this was Friday, August 7th, one of the people who initially made the group um, had claimed, and this was the post, um, doing some reorg work, moving admins to moderator with no talk about that beforehand. Thanks for your cooperation. I'm the sole owner of the trademark, so that's why the move to moderator for folks. And then just kind of ended it up with like, just get involved, but I'm going to be dramatic, essentially, is kind of what it turned out to be. Um, so basically, he ended up proceeding to take the admin rights away from everybody. So downgraded everybody to moderator. Then had a couple of conversations with me. I might drop one of those here later, but um, basically, this kind of relates to how ND Cannabis Caucus was created, and this is kind of how it's ending, in that it was a different view of opinion. It was a different way that everybody like saw things, and essentially once we missed the deadline there, it kind of turned into a lot of infighting. We were trying to kind of like calm everybody down, or I was at least. Um, and yeah, there was a lot of miscommunication as well. Like I thought one thing of somebody when really that was just like they just felt betrayed. So like I'm sorry to them as well. And yeah, like when I heard it from one side like this, I was like, oh, like that's fucked up, and never was super able to like um, talk to that person directly about it. But at the same time, when it ended up dropping by a sheer accident, um, it like I know that was an accident. There's no way, but yeah, it kind of turned into like now everybody knows all of a sudden, when it was trying to be very carefully and quietly like dealt with. Like, hey, everybody needs to like calm down and kind of think of the group. Um, but yeah, so once Measure 3 failed, there was that power struggle there, and that's kind of where it turned into my way or the highway. And that's what I, at least, read. I'm the sole owner of the trademark, so that's why the move to moderator for folks. Um, to this day, he is not the owner of that trademark. And he's talking ND Cannabis Caucus. That is not technically his, or at least on paper. Trademark law is very similar to copyright law. The minute that it is created, the minute that that idea is brought forth, technically you do own the trademark or the copyright to that. If you take it to the state, you own the trademark in the state. If you take it federally, you own the trademark in all 52 states. We have 52 states, right? Am I stupid? Why
50.
do I... Huh? 50.
50. Yeah.
But then we have Hawaii and...
Yeah, there's 48 contingent.
Oh, 48.
And
Okay.
then, yeah.
Wow. See? I'm not the smartest person in the world, by the way. So...
No, honestly, that's one thing that a lot of people today don't remember. It's not that you didn't know, it's just easy
I
to
second
confuse.
guessed it. Like, once it came out of my mouth, I was like, oh, wait. That doesn't sound right. But yeah, so the difference between registering it with the state or federally is the ability to sue for damages. If you have it and you haven't registered it, the only thing you can do is send a cease and desist. And it's also a matter of if that cease and desist will actually be acted on. It's not really, it's not a cool thing to do, but you don't have to, technically, until they take you to court. And then once the court proves that, this person owns it, this is how that works, then you have to take it down by court order, but they can't sue for monetary damages. And it's the exact same thing for copyright. However, with copyright, you actually don't have to register it. You can still sue for damages. So, long story short, that's kind of what happened. Now, when it comes to the power struggle and the different views that everybody had, um, I had a different view than a lot of other people did. There's personally, I feel it's a solid, tested measure. The constitutional petition style and the wording of the constitutional petition that was circulating has been tested in Colorado, and I think it was attempted to be passed in other states as well, very similarly. And that's actually kind of what the lawyer that had written up the actual measure had based it off of. And that was the explanation of, like, this is the reason why it's like this, and it's tested like that. But there's a lot of other things that a lot of people seem to have mistaken. I'm not 100% sure. But we have a couple other issues before, in my opinion, they should have resubmitted. And I guess, I don't know how it got around or anything like that. It turned into like some sort of crazy conspiracy theory that I was like working with the enemy type of thing, or like some crazy idea that's just obviously not true, and I
It was
attempted to
absolutely
prove.
batshit. It was
Yeah,
unfounded and just fucking crazy. It was an assumption that definitely lived up to its name of making an ass.
yeah. And
And I'm not just trying to like poke, like I'm not just trying to push buttons here, but I mean it was absolutely ridiculous. It was like I was playing Minecraft, and all of a sudden I see on Facebook the thing about dropping moderators or whatever, admins to moderators, and it's just like, what the hell's going on? Like,
right?
so it was unfounded.
Yeah,
Plain and simple, it was unfounded and ridiculous. And when trying to explain this, it was refused
yeah, and
entirely.
yeah, and the thing is so maybe I was just a little bit more wanting to be prepared type of deal. There's multiple reasons why I don't think it should be resubmitted right away. Um, I mean, let's look at the next month. Uh, COVID-19 is still there. COVID-19 is still coming around. There's, I think we are going on a downward trend, but the last 2 days. So, like, at the time, that wasn't known that we were going to be going on a downward trend. Um, so we have that aspect. We also have the aspect of, the way that uh, the not the CARES, I don't even know what it's called, a stimulus bill coming through as far as help for funding. People are more apt to donating if they actually have money to donate. So funding for the entire measure, um, because a lot of the people that were involved, they were also all kind of throwing in their own money, um, and that was it. It's difficult for like people when they're working paycheck to paycheck to fund something like that. And while it's not like, if we got a $1,200 stimulus check and $1,200 is going to that, it would give a little bit of breathing room and the ability to actually be able to help. Um, the next month, at the end of the month, school is going to be starting up, um, which a lot of people have very mixed reactions to, but we're just going to kind of say that it has the possibility for being a daily super spreader issue and a super spreading event. You remember that term super spreading is basically where it's a lot of people in a small area and the possibility of having a lot of people getting infected. Something like that can bring a lot of stuff crashing to the ground. It can possibly cause a second shutdown. That type of risk right there. Well, when I say shutdown, obviously North Dakota never went on a shutdown like that, but I'm talking in the form of like they were, people were a little bit more scared to leave their house type of thing. So the that type of a situation could have happened again. And then we also have the major one, which I feel is the biggest overlooked one, and that is the thing that's going to be voted on in November. I'm going to be doing a lot more of information about this. I've mentioned it multiple times, but this one is huge. It's called Senate Concurrent Resolution number 4001. And what this does, and what this will be voted on in November, by people who might not even realize what this does. This would basically stop 2022, that measure from passing. That right there, this right here is going to be on 2020 ballot. This passes in 2022. There's the chance that this will stop everything dead in its tracks. And I'm not being dramatic when I say that. What this does is if you pass a measure and it's voted on yes, and it's a constitutional one, specifically constitutional, not statutory, specifically constitutional, what this will do, this was supposed to scroll. I don't know why you're not scrolling. Okay, I guess I'm doing it by hand. So what this would do is basically something passes, it's brought to legislation, or it's brought to Senate and House, they all vote yes or no on it. If it's a no, it goes back on the ballot the next election cycle, 2024. So you have two issues here. The first one is getting three issues, actually three. Getting the signatures, getting on the ballot, getting people to vote yes on the ballot. And well, okay, four. And getting them to vote yes again. Because we all know that if this was brought to a Senate, to a Senate vote, mostly in the Senate, there's some in the House, mostly in the Senate, if this was voted no, it's going back. And there's a very huge chance that it gets voted no. And that is the reason why that resubmitting is not the best idea. So yeah. Basically, that's my 2 cents. This will be probably the only time I mention this. I'm probably going to talk more about 4001, specifically because while it doesn't affect Canna-Talk ND, it's fucked up. That's fucked up. So essentially, it's basically saying that, yeah, you can pass a measure, but it's not even going to go. We're going to make you work twice as hard. So
yeah,
this needs to be kind of shouted out more, and that's the reason why I'm going to do the video. But when it relates to ND Freedom of Cannabis Act, ND Cannabis Caucus, whatever it's going to be called, that's going to be my last mention of that. But yeah, I might jump because I do have something lined up at the bottom there, but it's really kind of just correcting a people not understanding or not even talking to me before and expecting the worst type of situation. But yeah, on the other hand, so this channel, Canna-Talk ND, that's Greg's platform, I think with Lisa too. They're the owners of trademark and everything like that. Um, I I'm just the video guy, and I also do a live stream because cool, I have a platform to do it on. But yeah, um, basically, you just want to make sure everybody's clear. Uh, Canna Talk ND no longer associated with ND Freedom of Cannabis Act. That could change, but it probably won't. And that there is more plans for Canna Talk ND's YouTube channel. So yeah, make sure to like and subscribe the stream, or subscribe to the channel and like the stream, because yeah, there is going to be more content. I have some lined up. Greg has this radio show. They might have also another plan for videos, and we are more than excited to basically do another video, a bunch of other videos. Like we have Unfiltered, we have the um, well, I had to take everything down because apparently Mr. Trademark Owner decided to say I have to take everything down. So, yeah, but that goes both ways. So, whatever. But yeah, so we have. Let me look at the YouTube studio here. Um, why do we have public here? Yeah, so we have the new Canna Talk, the one that just came up yesterday. We have the fail video that apparently got mixed reception. I felt like it explained everything very well. Apparently, it needed some clarification, so that's what this is. We also have the prison warden video right now, and we also have all the other feature content. So why don't I just look at that one? I just have a feature content playlist here. So yeah, we have Chris Howell. We have Blind Joe interview as well. He was on what's it called? What was that one singing show? Remember?
I don't.
Yeah. Oh, The Voice. That's what it was. He was on The Voice. Uh, yeah, I don't remember exactly how far he got, but he was contestant on The Voice. Um, and he's a country singer now, actually, and a country artist. And I think he's in Nashville, Tennessee. Um, but yeah, so that's a really cool one. And then we also have Canalize, which is kind of the mainstay one, just simply because it kind of tackles the lies and kind of I don't know, just people being confused about cannabis just in general. I'm sure almost everybody that's watching this kind of already knows the answers to most of the things, but yeah, that's there as well. So I don't know if you wanted to take it away a little bit, or
I don't have anything
okay.
on that.
Well, let's lighten up
Generally,
the mood a little
I'm here for the videos.
bit. Right? Yeah. We can lighten up the mood a little bit. So that's another thing I want to mention. Now that this is about cannabis, we are talking about cannabis. But the things that were kind of laid to the side simply because it didn't directly relate to cannabis or didn't, I don't know, put cannabis in the best of light. Like, I'm not gonna be like showing terrible news reporting about like lies that is about it, but like just didn't put it in the best of light. I always passed on those videos or on those news stories simply because like it was a campaign to making it legal, so I'm not gonna obviously just hand ammunition to people. So this one is just more of just a funny one. The Pentagon has announced a UFO task force. The Defense Department announced on Friday evening that Deputy Secretary of Defense Dave Norquist approved the creation of an unidentified aerial phenomena task force on August 4th. And the government group will be led by the Navy under the Secretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security. So there's a little bit about this here. The Department of Defense, they established this UFO task force to improve its understanding of and gain insight into the nature and origins of unidentified aerial, whatever P stands for. The mission of the task force is to detect, analyze, and catalog UAPs that could potentially pose a threat to U.S. national security. Marco Rubio of Florida is also pushing legislation that would require the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, who oversees the intelligence community's 17 intelligence agencies, to work with the Pentagon and other relevant agencies to produce a detailed report outlining the U.S. government what the U.S. government knows about UFOs, including their origins, frequency, and potential threat to U.S. national security. So yeah, I just kind of found it funny. There's a Netflix documentary, multiple episode documentary about UFOs, and it relates to a. It was right before the drop um, that came from a FOIA Act um, submission of releasing footage of UFOs. There's apparently like I forgot what the name of the room is, but they basically have like a shed that has like just file cabinets on file cabinets of
Mhm.
footage of photos about UFOs. Um, so it's actually really interesting to watch. I highly recommend it. Um, so yeah, the videos were released from the Navy under the FOIA Act that showed UFOs moving in incredible speeds and performing seemingly impossible aerial maneuvers, which the videos were captured in a Navy FIA or FA-18 Super Hornet, which is probably the coolest name for a plane in the entire world. But so they were codenamed. The three videos were codenamed Flare One, Gimbal, and Go Fast. Which gimbal is weird because a gimbal is basically the stability of footage. So like you put this thing on your camera or your phone, and it'll stay in the middle no matter what. It's kind of like free. It's got like basically
Kind of
a
like a
bunch of
gyroscope kind of thing.
yeah, and then no matter what happens, it will still stay still. The the explosion. Um, what was where was the explosion that just recently happened?
Beirut.
Yeah, the explosion in Beirut. There was footage of like a wedding, and it was like it, obviously because it was a professional like situation. They were you know filming a wedding, and this whole thing happened, and it was like gimbaled, so like video stabilized, color corrected, and it's just like I have never once in my entire life seen a tragedy happen color corrected and gimbaled. Like with image stabilization, like that's a little weird and yeah, so I figured yeah, just to kind of lighten the mood cuz nobody's mad. We're all just living life. And so the videos were made published or were made public. This one was an interesting one. So it was made public from the New York Times, who sent in the FOIA Act, but there was also efforts to the Stars Academy, which was founded by Tom DeLonge, who is the lead vocalist of Blink 182 and Angels and Airwaves. Like
Oh
that's
man,
that's a crazy crossover episode right
yeah,
there. Uh,
that's some next level shit.
yeah, so just to kind of lighten the mood there. And now, back into more cannabis stuff. Um, Maine has officially announced that voters, or people of Maine, can now purchase marijuana. Now, you might be wondering why that's so weird. Well, it was passed 4 years ago. So they're saying recreational sales will start on October 9th. It'll be actually really interesting, kind of like what Illinois was like. it'll be really interesting to see, well, now more than ever with Corona, but like October 9th, just kind of how much sales that they're gonna have in a single day. Because I remember in Illinois, it broke records like immediately, and it was like billions of dollars in like a week. But yeah, Maine um, had announced that October 9th is the day. Um, so this ballot measure was approved 4 years ago, and the reason why it took 4 years is because the legislation that was set um, took a while because the governor at that time, Paul LePage, uh, a vocal opponent to cannabis reform, also had some issues about it. And then Janet Mills signed legislation to set it to actually go in last year, but it's kind of changed everybody's view of the whole entire problem and the whole entire issue that, hey, it's taken 4 years. So the first round of cannabis business licenses will be issued on September 8th, so that's next month, and it'll give them over or about a month to begin harvesting, processing, and ensuring quality control. So it's probably not going to be so. It's probably going to run out. I mean, honestly, it's probably going to be out by like a couple hours, simply because they only have like a month. They have the grow ops, but they also have to harvest, test it, um, and they have other different rules of how things should be tested and everything like that. So there's probably like batch limitations to the testing companies that they're going with. So might not see so many strains, but yeah. Um, so that's Maine for you. 4 years later. Um, I don't know. Like I feel like this taking 4 years. Like I understand. Like hey, a governor can like block it or threaten to veto. I, well, if it's voter passed, can they can probably veto it still, right? Or they can veto
I
at
don't think
least.
so.
Well, they
I think they
probably
can.
can. Oh, go ahead.
I'm pretty sure they can veto something that was done by the legislature.
Yeah. So I'm guessing like it would have gone as it stood, and that there might have been some issues with how um like the framework was created for it. But so that would be the thing that he would veto, and then it would kind of make it like, hey, this is probably not the best idea. Um, yeah. I don't know. I feel like if people voted yes on it, then maybe you should let them you know have the thing that they all wanted, that more than 50% wanted.
Right.
Like it, shooting yourself in the foot for votes. Like I'm guessing it was probably um, his last run. Like he was probably at coming on in 8 years, so that might have been why. But yeah. Term limit, that's the word. I was looking for term limit, so I'm sure that he was coming up on his term limit, so he was just like, I can be an asshole. You know, 'cause that can definitely
Because
be
why
a.
not?
Yeah. But then again, like, there is life after office, and, you know, when you're a private citizen, I'm sure, like, you were successful in politics, so you're probably gonna play, you're probably gonna be in the politics industry, whatever
Hmm.
that means, and that can probably hurt you by being an asshole. I don't know. People voted on it. It should be legal. It should have been legal 4 years ago. I don't know. Um,
I can't
so,
believe it took that long. That's insane.
right?
You would think that there would be some sort of repercussion. You know what I'm saying? Like if something that was voter initiated isn't like put in place within X amount of time, that there should be some sort of repercussion.
Right? Yeah, because, like, what's to stop? Well, I guess a term limit. I guess that's the point of a term limit, is to not have dictators. Um, Even though, like, apparently I'm not going to say who, somebody believes that they can be president till I think it was like 2036 or something was in the video, and it was just like, some dramatic music that's super old. I forgot what it's called, but there was like a Twitter video that somebody retweeted. I'm gonna just say somebody. That yeah. So like that's called dictatorship. Um yeah. Anyway, and this one I wanted to touch on this next one here, simply because there's a little bit of talk about it in North Dakota. So Ohio has the ability to pass measures, municipality measures. And there are 4 more cities in Ohio that will be voted on for Decrim in November. Those would be Adena, Gloucester, Jacksonville, and Trumbull. They each have their own reform measures on their ballots after local boards of elections certified the petitions. It would make anyone 18 or older that have enacted measures to lower the penalties for misdemeanor cannabis possession. And basically, it wouldn't legalize it because that's a state level thing, but it would, I guess, to put in a better term, um, decriminalize, which is kind of a weird way of saying you can still get a ticket for it. It's just you don't go to jail for it, which is a step in the right direction.
It
Don't get
is,
me
but
wrong.
it's not enough.
Yeah, like, oh, thanks for giving me a ticket. Like, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
But they were working on a statewide ballot, but COVID-19 happened, much like the same story here, and basically made it impossible. I think there was that suit. I think that was in Ohio as well. Um, but they also did, Ohio as a state, did pass legislation to double the amount that can be that you can have on you that would be fitting under the decrim. So you would be able to get a ticket for less or for more cannabis if this passes in all 4 counties. Well, in whichever city, whichever county passes it, you'll fall under that regulation. And I think it was like, well, actually, let's find out. Um, to cover 200 grams. So you would be able to have 200 grams, and this would also fall under that. And the reason why I wanted to talk about it is there are some people in the group that have shown interest in attempting to work with local legislators or passing a measure that would be a decrim or a legalization almost. Not super familiar with municipality law. I tried doing a little bit of research, but it's really hard to find. First of all, it's really hard to find like municipality law just in general. Cass County's website, which is where Fargo's in, Cass County's website doesn't really have much information about measures. It has information about people running, like if you want to run for office in that county, but it doesn't really have much information about how to pass a measure. That's not to say it's impossible. I just don't know how, and it would be really, really cool if that actually did happen, because if it happens in Cass County, it can happen in large counties as well. It might even happen in smaller counties, but there's multiple different ways. What's the name? What's that saying? There's different ways to. Well, I guess there's different ways to skin a cat, I guess is the technical saying of it. Don't skin your cats. Please don't.
Yeah,
I love my
that's
cats, but there's multiple different ways to attack this type of a situation. And, passing it in the local county, whether it be going to um, hearings or it be passing it in a measure form, I'm not 100% sure which one works the best in that aspect, simply because I don't live in Cass County, so I don't really know the people, but Cass County, well, at least Fargo. And huge shout out to Fargo, by the way, of when we were circulating, like when ND for Freedom was out, Cass County had probably the most, like, I don't know exactly, but probably the most signatures. And you would be surprised to know that it was only, I think, like 3 people that were like heads there, and they actually set up their own, like, what I was talking about before, their own like organization,
Mm.
and they were like pretty much self-sufficient, and they didn't really like, they just did what they wanted to do, and it was always, every single time, for the good. And it never was like, hey, we got in trouble type of thing. It was always, yeah, dude, we have meetings once a week. We have this radio show. We're at this event, that event. We're in the mall now. Like, Cass County is super supportive, or Fargo is super supportive. And the fact that those people were like, yeah, we're lucky here. We just have to exist in this area, and we can do it. And everyone's just like, well, I have this time, I have that time. They're super chill, super cool, got it
Mm.
all done. Um, so like, if that is going to happen in a municipality level or going to legislation hearings and stuff like that, that right there is probably a lot of juice to be able to actually do something like that. So, um, definitely reach out if you want to get involved in something like that. If you're in Cass County, um, on the Facebook group, Canna Talk ND. He might know where to point you. I'm not 100% sure like who's all doing what and all that stuff or anything
Yeah,
like
it's
that,
a
but
little bit of a disarray right now.
yeah. Well, yeah, and that's another thing is like, okay, the election, 2022 election, is 800 something days away. You know, you got a year with a state one. I don't know what it is with a municipality, but like, there's plenty of time. So, if you want to get involved in something like that, or you want to get involved in your own thing, just in general, um, you know, and you want some support, reach out to us. If it's something that we like, we'd be more than happy to shout you out.
Hmm.
Um, Same thing with me. If it's something that I like, I would be more than happy to shout you out. Um, Anything like that. So yeah, Canna Talk ND on Facebook is the new Facebook page. So if you guys want to go over there in droves, that would be cool. But yeah, we also have the YouTube page. So again, here's your what is it called? Subliminal message to subscribe to the YouTube page. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and make sure to hit that bell. I watch a lot of YouTube.
I don't know how to feel about you right now.
I watch a lot of YouTube. So, especially like when I'm working, like I'm pretty much, that's what I do for a living almost, is watch YouTube videos. And sometimes I have to take a phone call. um, but yeah, so that's kind of for the cannabis news. I was gonna go in a little bit more to the more cannabis news, but I found something, and I was gonna do this last week until everything blew up. Um, I, I, so we're talking about cannabis, but there are other things that can affect cannabis, as far as the political landscape would be the technical term. But I also kind of wanted to, because it seems like a lot of people are interested in the topic of cannabis. Um, and I just kind of want to do like a taster, I suppose, of other things in politics. I've never like ran for office or been in politics, but like I've kind of followed it, but not like commentated on it. So this is new to me, but I have a new idea, and it's not going to be the main idea. Like this isn't going to just change everything. But I kind of like, when this type of stuff happens, I figure I might as well, uh, you know, kind of bring it up to people's attention, uh, because it can really change how cannabis passes in just the
Mm.
future. Um, so I'm going to call this wheel or weird political phenomena.
Okay, you even
Title
have my
pending.
attention. Keep in mind, peoples, I have no idea what the hell he's talking about right now, so this is just as fun for me.
Right. So I was going to do a stream last week, and it was called "The Wolf in Sheep's Clothing," and that's the name of this stream too. The Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. So this one's just going to be the bit idea. The thing is basically talking about weird things that happen in politics that go outside political norms. That at least I've seen in politics, but I'm not the only one that watches politics. And so yeah, this might be its own little series, or it might just be a little bit. But this one's going to be a little bit more in depth because there is a lot here. So, the Lincoln Group. If you watch MSNBC, I am sure you've seen every single one of their videos. If you go on Twitter, I'm sure you've seen absolutely every single video of theirs. The Lincoln Project, or Lincoln Project is what it's called, but they're also the Lincoln Group. So, yeah. Santiago, it's real. I'm real. I am not 100% sure. Yeah, the
Oh,
Lincoln
the
Project
Lincoln
is real.
Project. That's
Yes.
definitely that's totally real.
Yes, it's 100% real. We'll go through a couple of their videos. But just to dispel this rumor, when I made that video saying the wolf in sheep's clothing, I wasn't confirming a weird conspiracy theory that I'm working for the other man or the other guy. And that's what this was. So I am not working for Legalize ND. Calm down, guys. The wolf in sheep's clothing was in relation to the Lincoln Project. Nothing else.
Sure it was.
Right. Actually, technically, I am a DSO alt. I'm actually DSO, but I am using computer magic to change my face. No, Lincoln Project, yes, they are nice guys, but I think the way that people are seeing it are a little bit different, and I think they've made some mistakes. So, the Lincoln Project is going to be basically, if you go on their website and you hit the team, the founders of the Lincoln Project have spent over 200 years electing Republicans, but now they've sparked a nationwide movement with a singular mission: to defeat Donald Trump and Trumpism. Except for, the group was founded in 2019. So that's a little weird. This is just their what's it called? Hidden secrets or uncovered secrets screenshot. They're a super PAC, and essentially, if you really wanted to, say, yeah, there's a 20-second delay. I know YouTube is YouTube, and it's all infinite glory. I was gonna do low latency, but this was my first YouTube stream that I've actually cared about. All the other ones I've just kind of streamed to YouTube, but like not really watched it. So I wanted to make sure everything was good and no dropping. So, yeah. But basically, the Lincoln Project is a super PAC that has created some probably really, really interesting ads that are very high production value. I am very, very impressed. Most political, like, okay, you got your presidential politics, yeah, so that would make sense for them. They are high production value, they got lots of money into it, there's a lot there, right? For like more local and like the political ads that you see on TV, like you see some Trump ads, you see some Biden ads, you see all of those ads, but you also see some local ones, and those local ones are basically, hey, I called up Midco and they said, hey, come be here, pay us this money, and we'll make you an ad. And 9 times out of 10, it's basically just like them talking, cut, URL, done, no music, just there's your political ad. So, huge shock when the basically Lincoln Project happened. You're from Spain? Sweet. Yeah.
What?
We actually, you know what's surprising? What's really shocking? Sorry, I'm gonna go back to it here in a minute, but what's really shocking is we actually have a pretty big, well, on the Facebook page we did, a pretty big one in the Europe area. Like in Europe, South America, we had some like statistics there. Yeah, other states as well because they got family in North Dakota type of thing. So yeah, we're not only North Dakota, but yeah, we're mostly North Dakota. But I don't know. This kind of covers everything. But yeah, and if you're in Spain, you I don't really know much about law in Spain, but we're talking about cannabis, obviously, as you can see, all the cannabis leaves. Um, what's the like? What is it legal? Is there medicinal? I don't really know too much about Spain, so yeah, if you like to chat it, that'd be cool. But yeah, so the Lincoln Project, we're going to watch a couple of their videos. You have that sync tube thing up, right?
No.
Nope. Okay, let
Give
me
me a second.
just.
I'll pop it right up.
Yeah, it's in there. So we're going to talk about a couple of their videos. I'm just going to obviously commentate over it because, I can't just play things that are copyrighted. But yeah, um, there's some really good ones, but then there's some ones that are downright childish. And I just kind of wanted to explain a little bit of their history, but also kind of show how there might be an issue with this idea. You there?
I'm here.
Okay, cool. Alright. So this is one of their videos called Unprecedented. This came out shortly after the Axios interview. So yeah, let's watch it. Oh, shoot. I forgot. I need to set this to... Oh, crap. I should have had this prepared.
Yeah, you should have. Jesus.
We're going to... Sorry. One more second. I should have done this while you were pulling up the site, but... Turn you on. Pass through. Where are you? You are output capture. Yep, there we go. There. Alright. Also, do you have enough volume? Let me see if you have even any volume whatsoever. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, you're cool.
Look, here's what Trump's own people are saying about him. He's a f***ing moron. Rex.
So, what they did, just to kind of give a oversight here, they took the people who used to work for Trump in the presidency, and they basically quoted them. But the way that they quoted them, I find political ads interesting in this sense. The way that they quoted him was Trump's Secretary of State, not Trump's former Secretary of State. So yeah, that's the thing I found interesting about this one, but...
Tillerson, Trump's Secretary of State.
We're lower than the world.
Lower than...
This was like literally the worst interview I've ever seen in my life.
It was a train wreck. Oh, so entertaining, though.
Okay, alright, we're just gonna take a vote between two different interviews. This interview, or the, what's that pop singer? They did a whole thing. Saving Singer documentary. I have the name. Saving documentary Netflix. It was on Netflix. It was... Oh... Ja Rule? No, not Ja Rule.
Oh, Kanye West?
No, not Kanye West.
No.
It was back in like the 90s. He was a huge singer. I think I'm blanking on this, but it was also on AMC, I think. Yeah, I don't remember. But the interview and the like two season documentary that they did on him. Uh, there was like Michael Jackson. There was another one. Um, yeah. Let's see here. Netflix documentaries. Netflix documentaries. Give me a list. Yeah, I can't think of it. This would have been a really good bit. I'm gonna find it. I swear. But yeah, this one or the one that was like, "You're killing me here." Um, do, 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 do. Yeah, I don't know. Fleeting thought.
All I'm getting is like R. Kelly.
Yes, R. Kelly. That's the one. Who had a better interview? R. Kelly and Gayle King, or him?
Okay, are you talking about better in terms of train wreck or better in terms of like they came out better?
Train wreck. Like, which one was the most entertaining? Like, okay, it's
That's
sad
hard.
that...
Entertaining, I would say this one. I would have to say this one. Because it was just like just sheer stupidity. Blatantly in your face. Like, you would have to be one of those hardcore, like, Trumpists or whatever,
Yeah.
that is like, the guy could literally fart in your face and they would thank him, kind of thing. Like, that's how people act about a grown-ass man. Like, it's disgusting.
Well, he said, I think this was in 2016 or 17, that he can shoot a man on Main Street or something like that and not lose a vote. Like,
Yeah.
but no, like there was a video of this that went super fucking viral on Twitter. Somebody did a mirror, so they took Donald Trump, and then they put another Donald Trump where he's sitting, and it looks like he's debating himself.
Yeah. I saw that shit, dude.
It was the funniest thing. Like, it doesn't matter. Okay, it does matter, but at the same time, if you just take a step back from politics, take a step back from like your views on Trump or no Trump, just the actual video and seeing it, it kind of gives you a chuckle. Like, whether or not it's against.
It has me fucking dying, dude.
Right?
Oh my god.
But yeah, so
James Mattis, Trump's Secretary of Defense.
You had a group on one side and you had a group on the other. Very
okay, so like this is my biggest thing. Like, I do post this on Facebook a lot. If I see a video with high production value and scary music and, you know, like misleading statements, I'll point it out. He wasn't talking about these two. When he was saying that, he wasn't talking about these two. We're just throwing those up on screen, not saying that it has anything to do with him. We're just throwing them up on screen to give you a little narrative in your head that might not be true. I hate to use the words fake news, but yeah.
fine people on both sides.
He's an idiot. John Kelly, Trump's chief of staff.
They weren't laughing at me.
A professional liar.
Like, okay, that clip right there had nothing to do with that.
Gary Cohn, Trump's economic advisor.
There will be no lies.
He thinks he's God. Barbara Rez, SV.
Okay, that's funny though. Like, they used his like, hey, I'm gonna just do a photo op in the middle of my press conference to use that photo op against him.
VP of Trump Organization.
I am the chosen one.
Like an 11-year-old child, Steve Bannon, Trump's advisor.
I'm sorry. Anything that comes out of Steve Bannon's mouth, I don't give a shit. Like, I literally don't care. He is a literal walking... The dude literally never stops lying. He's always, like, trying to scheme up. He's a grifter. Much like a lot of people who were on his campaign. They're grifters.
I think we need to look harder at who we elect.
I don't think he's fit for office. I have the most...
Okay, so they took that clip when Jeff Bolton did an interview about his book that was against Trump. Obviously, that was going to be a win.
Loyal people.
Can America survive 4 more years?
We are better than this moment we're in.
So after seeing that ad there, we're not going to talk about Democrat or Republican. We're going to talk in the middle here. Which side do you think the Lincoln Project is?
In terms of, like, obviously Democratic. For liberal.
Mm-mm.
What?
They're conservatives.
What? Oh my god, please tell me these motherfuckers are in, like, along the same line as the fucking rvat.org.
I don't know what they are.
rvat.org. Those are my people.
Yep. Republican voters against Trump. Essentially, they are never Trumpers.
Yeah. Up until Trump, have always had pretty Republican views. I'm closer to a libertarian, I guess you could say, because, like, I don't believe, I don't believe that, I'm scared to say this on a public stream.
I can
But,
say
like,
a
I
lot
don't
of...
believe in, like, the conservative views on, like, abortion. I don't think that gay people are bad people. I actually love gay people. Like, I don't understand why. Like, I don't understand why conservatives have the point of view that when Republicans are we're supposed to be embracing smaller government and less government overreach and control or whatever. And then Republicans are the first ones to say, no, you can't do that with your body. No, you can't do this. No, you can't marry who you want, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, other people's lives are not for you to judge or determine.
Yeah.
That's where I fall at a step.
And you actually might have a really good insight to the last part that I'm going to mention, which is basically kind of what this is going to do. Because this has a huge implication. But they also do have some childish things that they've done, such as
funny.
This one. Here's him. This one's a little weird.
The great Susan Collins, she is one of a kind, and she's in a tough...
First of all, can I just look? High production, low production value. I don't care if you took your video on a fucking potato. Turn your goddamn phone sideways.
Yes.
Okay? Vertical video pisses me the fuck off. That's just my personal view. TikTok.
I agree. You should be smacked in the fucking head.
Yes.
Oh, this is not TikTok, it's YouTube.
No, this was YouTube, but yeah. This is one of the founders of the Lincoln Project.
But she's one of our sort of top people in the Senate, okay? I love what she's done, and I strongly endorse endorsement. We're doing strong endorse. We endorse.
Like, okay, but that's childish though. Like, you know?
Yeah, but it's fucking hilarious.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm childish when it comes to Trump because, like, I'm so sick of this shit.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like, okay, these people, they have the resources, they have the, like, you know, the views that could really take them out of office. But they've said before that they're only there to tip the scales in the singular fashion. So singular digits. They're going to churn maybe 3 or 4% over. They're not going to, like, make all Republicans vote Democrat or anything like that. But they're there to essentially tip the scales a little bit over and give Biden a little bit of a fighting chance. But there was a lot that was sold there that is not good for the Democrats. And we're going to get into that later. But in the same vein, they turn around and kind of, I mean, act childish in regards to this. Like, they are, vertical video or not, they're just making fun of a speech impediment, which I mean, I've not diagnosed it, but I probably have a speech impediment when it comes to, like, coming up with words and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if everybody's
I
noticed
think
this.
it's all of the like how he's always I'm so smart and like
Yeah.
I have the best words and blah blah. So pretty much taking a shot at saying that if you're such a fucking linguist.
Right. Yeah. But like, okay, that's one childish. And then they went like, okay, there's low. So there's, above board. Then there's just, you know, middle of the road here, and that's what I think this is. And then there's, I mean, they're not wrong, but at the same time, they're not really adding or removing anything from the conversation with these videos. The first one, they might be, because they're explaining like, these are the people that he was surrounded with. They have a situation where they end up going to jail most of the time. Like, there's a problem here. But then they do this, which doesn't really add or remove anything from the conversation. It's not like, a conservative is going to be like, oh, now that I've seen this video of how he can't talk, oh yeah, voting Biden all the way. Like, this doesn't really add or remove anything.
Yeah.
And then this one kind of does, but at the same time, it's kind of low. And if it could do what it was supposed to do,
A small-pawed Trump, Impetus Americanus. Notable for its exotic plumage, the Trump is typically a ruddy orange color not found in nature. Though Impetus was once considered an alpha predator, this elderly specimen now weighs somewhat over 300 pounds due to its diet of fast food.
I don't think he does weigh 300 pounds. I'm not 100% sure. Like, that is a possibility. But, like, I don't know, this is kind of, okay, you got a point here, but you should have gone more for the wasted tax money, wasted dollars type of situation, rather than just being like, he's fat. It's like, okay. I mean, alright. Do you think he's, like, if you're mentioning it that he's fat because, he might not be fit for office because he's, like, a higher risk for, like, a stroke or something like that, say it. Don't just beat around the bush on it. Like,
Yeah, and like we're not exactly in a day and age where it's cool to sit there and smash on somebody's physical appearance.
right. Yeah. So, like, they
Okay,
have
wait,
these...
wait. As a private person, like I'm constantly talking shit. Constantly. Like I will die talking shit. But as an organization, that if you have an end game in mind or whatever, you can't be playing on such childish roles. I get it.
Right. So, yeah, so that's just kind of these are just random ones that I picked out that kind of fit a criteria I was looking for. So, obviously, look at the website and kind of see how, it is, but, or
Also,
their
check your
YouTube page.
Skype.
Yeah, I just saw that. Yeah. Yep. Oh, I can't do it well, I can, but I guess we haven't really talked about anything important in Skype.
Okay, well, you keep doing what you're doing. I'll upload it to YouTube.
Yeah, do that, and then, yeah, send me the link, because then I can just add it. I need to, like, put you in for admin later, but, yeah, so...
Actually, you did.
Did I?
Switch account, Canna-Talk ND.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there is that one. Don't do it to that channel. Do it to yours, just because copyright strikes and me not wanting them.
You're cool. I don't give a shit. I'll take.
No, like if you're not like a channel, you just get a claim. You don't get struck. If you are a channel and like you have content and you have subscribers like over 100 or something, if you do it, you get a strike. It's kind of stupid. But yeah. So essentially, these are conservatives or Republican voters against Donald Trump. So it kind of does show that, hey, brainwashed Trump's there's some conservatives that aren't brainwashed Trump supporters, that are, they are concerned with what way the Republican Party has swung, and they have some major leaders of the Republican side standing in solidarity with their actions, and that they don't like that part. So there's like the whole like during the impeachment type of thing, suppressing voters, the whole mail-in election and the whole Ukraine thing, like signaling racism. Like they don't like the way that Donald Trump has acted and how the Republican Party has backed him on every one of those things. It's understandable why they had to, because, standing in solidarity. But at the same time, they're not happy with the way that things are going, and they see, like, hey, it's not wrong with the Republican Party. It's the person that has the most visual view from the outside of the Republican Party. So basically, the Lincoln Project is, well, a wolf in sheep's clothing. So they do a lot of YouTube videos, they do a lot of Twitter videos, they do a lot of social media stuff. You might see some of them on TV, but usually they're bot ads on Fox News or MSNBC, which is a really weird one, but I'm not 100% sure I want to jump too far into MSNBC as far as that, simply because I don't know all the facts, and it's really hard to prove those facts. But they seem to get a very easy platform on MSNBC. It could be shared people in the group to MSNBC. It could also be donators to the Lincoln Project. Either way, they have high production value. They do a lot of emotional manipulation, like I was kind of pointing out earlier. They basically cherry pick people's actions. They lay some dramatic ass music over it, and throw some bass hits in there, and then that's a political attack ad. That's all you really need. You really need, as far as in a video production sense, you have your one video track of whatever you're showing. Then you have some cuts in that video track of the different proofs. You have a deep, emotional, like growling almost voiceover, and then you throw some dramatic music, and then the fourth track on the audio would just be the bass hits, or the bass hits, whatever it's fucking called. Like, boom, type of thing. And then that's on every single cut, and done. It's really not that hard. So there was, they've been doing mostly social media, but there was some people that when they started, that they didn't really do the homework on. And one of them was a guy named Ben Howe. He was the creative mind for the projects, and it's weird that this was the thing that got him canceled and not the first thing, but the reason why the Lincoln Project has let Ben Howe go is because he called people on Twitter, and he made Twitter or tweets calling people twats and pussies, and just acted immature. I mean, who would have thought somebody on Twitter.com being immature? Like, that is what Twitter is. If you ever want to see some people acting like children, go on Twitter. It's funny and it's sad all in its own same time.
It's hilarious.
It is. It is hilarious. Like here, we're gonna do this one, super quick. This one is that video that we were talking about. I didn't put it in the thing. Did you put it in the thingy?
What?
Oh, no, I'll do it right now.
Oh yeah. Are you talking about the chat? I could share it in the chat.
No, not the chat. Just the. Is it gonna do it? Yep, it is. All right. Here you go. Trump versus Trump. This is, again, I mean, it's childish, but it's hilarious. Yeah.
Take a look. In numerous categories, we're lower than the world. Let me explain. Well, the test right here.
So this is basically, as you can see exactly how it's lined up and everything like that, this is basically a mirror. And then they basically kind of, I don't know if it's a deep fake or anything like that, but they basically kind of...
No, they just mirrored it and then they played
Yeah, two different
different.
tracks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, take a look. You can test too much. You do know that. What it says is when you have somebody that has it, where there's a case, it will last. No, but you're not reporting it correctly. We have cases.
It's super fucking realistic too. Like the
Yeah.
way that it was done is hilarious.
Yeah,
Now we're
it's
testing,
accurate.
I believe. This is the testing, yeah. Check it out. New cases, new cases, new cases. The top one, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. We test more. We have. Now take a look. Death is way down from where it was. Take a look at this. These are the.
Okay, that one line after he says like, "Oh, you're looking at a death on a case or on a case basis or something." I'm talking about death on a proportion. I died. Okay, Axios is really good, but at the same time, like, fucking brutal. Like, okay, it's, and I'm sure it would be brutal for the other side too if the other side was in presidency. Like, they're kind of in the middle.
Yes, it leveled out and it's going down. This is, excuse me, where it was is much higher than where it is right now. But you don't know that. That's my report as of yesterday. Wait a minute. You have to go by where, look, here is the United States. You have to go by the cases.
Like,
Look at that face.
and you know what's funny is I subscribe to him, like that dude. It's hilarious. He's done a couple other ones, but they're not getting as much like traction. But like this dude got like 1 million views in like an hour after posting
Yeah.
this. And then his other stuff gets like 200. So like if you want to subscribe to him, let me get you the YouTube page. He's actually really funny. Like I really do deserve some credit. I'm not gonna lie. And since I'm showing his content, I might as well, just because, you know, like, hey, I'm a nice guy.
I credited him in that description.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I just have to pull it up. There it is. Yeah. This is the guy. So yeah, if you want to, oh, that's his Twitter. He has a YouTube page. But either way, subscribe to his YouTube page if you want. It's hilarious. But yeah, basically he just kind of debates himself in a very, very amazing fashion. But yeah, so God, I hope I didn't have to. Yeah, so Ben Howe. Let's talk about Ben fucking Howe. So he was on Twitter. He was calling people twats and pussies. Like, okay, it's something about feminism and that like, if you called somebody a pussy, everybody would be mad or something. I don't exactly remember exactly the quote on Twitter, but he said some spicy things. Let's just say that. And so that was the reason why he quit. But you would think that the first reason would be why he quit. Or why he got fired. I don't know. I don't know how that left. But in 2000, I think 14. There was a police shooting with a kid in Ferguson. And Mr. Hot Take here had basically said, and this is fucked up, I'm just warning everybody, and I quote, "Give me a gun, put me in Darren Wilson's, that's the cop's shoes, I'd have shot Mike Brown, that's the kid, right in his face." I don't know how you missed this kind of homework on somebody. I don't know how you fucked this up. But whoever did should probably learn how Google works.
Yep.
It's not hard. It took me literally a minute.
Okay, be right back.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was kicked from the group after the twats and pussies. But this was a thing that happened, and that was okay. So, yeah, they didn't really do too much research into him, and they were okay with, apparently, this hot take. So, this dude, let me just point out, human trash. He is a walking trash can. Like, this right here shows that you are a walking trash can without a trash bag. Okay, you're just a mess. Nobody ever takes you out. You're just you're just shit. Okay. So yeah, that was one of the things, and that was one of the things that got him in hot water. Well, essentially, there was an article that came out from 538, and this is actually what I found, and this is the reason why I was like, okay, they have a very major point here. So during the Democratic election, we had seen like, hey, vote for Harris, and then it went to Warren, and then it went to Buttigieg, and then everybody finally landed on Biden, right? And it was this mentality of who can beat Trump. That right there was actually the work not of the Lincoln Project. They did help with that, but of Never Trumpers in the Democratic primaries. There was a lot of signaling that happened, but essentially, 538 reported this, that basically Never Trumpers are increasingly involved in the Democratic Party and have gradually shifted their tactics in the direction, effectively becoming a Never Trump or Never Bernie Sanders coalition. And they appear to be having more success shaping their new party. It's kind of like that hip Republican Party, like where for again, no offense to Republicans, but where for fucking over the poor person and let's start some wars, essentially, is kind of the bad parts of Republicanism. There's bad parts of Democrats. Let's give everybody health care and let's give everybody money is not the absolute best idea in the entire world, in my opinion. But, so they are having, they're kind of making the hip party. The ones that's on social media and, they're funny and they have some hot takes and they're great. So essentially, though, the core argument of Never Trumpers is Trump is a much worse person and leader than other GOP presidents like Bush or McCain and Romney as far as presidential nominees. Democrats and Republicans who disagree on issues such as abortion and tax policy should put aside those issues for now and oppose Donald Trump. So we agree to disagree on these things, but we agree on one thing. We have a common enemy, and that apparently is Donald Trump. And if you do put this stuff aside and you do try to get Donald Trump out of office, then, there's a sizable block of people that would be more than happy to join the Democrat side in challenging Trump. So if they move too far in ideology, so if they are just hard left, then they're not going to get those people. But if we meet in the middle and we kind of just tone down a couple of those little hot takes and those points that you got there, I'll still vote for you. Essentially, kind of starting the same problem, but just the other way. Like, okay, we all talk about how, people, like, politicians make promises that they never seem to want to come through on. But this is basically that same problem just kind of being applied to everybody. And that's kind of the argument here. So Tim Miller, an anti-Trumper, pretty much said it flat out. He basically said one group that really mattered in the primaries, he's talking about Democratic primaries, by the way, were the high information voters, the people who watch MSNBC, which is really weird, listen to The Daily, and a lot of those people went from Harris to Warren to Buttigieg and finally landed on Biden, which just so happened to have been more in, like, left, but also a little bit more centrist. And it was basically all an assessment of who can defeat Trump. And the Never Trumpers had a unique experience and insight into the Republican Party. So basically, another Never Trumper said that our message before and during the early primary elections was that principled conservatives and Republicans were a winnable bloc and could provide the divisive votes in general election swing states as long as Democrats didn't nominate a divisive far-left candidate. Appropriately, Bernie Sanders, Democratic voters prioritized replacing Trump in 2020 above all other issues. The primaries had nothing to do with any of those issues that anybody was talking about, any of the political policies that they were looking at, none of that. It had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with, well, this guy will beat Trump. And, well, he's, again, almost every single election, let's talk about 2016, every single election is literally the South Park meme, and it's true. A human douche or a shit sandwich. It's basically that. Every election. Yeah, like it is every single election. Your choice
Or a
is
shit sandwich.
as straight up.
It is.
Like we had some good candidates. We had some good candidates on both actually. But long story short, basically, the story of why Joe Biden was the dumb pick and how conservatives are, how there's never Trumpers and why you see all these like attack ads for Trump and stuff like that, was literally just a coalition of Democrats voting for Biden only to appease never Trumpers who would also jump on the ticket and vote for Biden. And that's basically the only thing, apparently, both parties are interested in. Which is kind of a big deal. And you might be asking, why does this have anything to do with cannabis? Well, VP pick, Biden, both anti-cannabis. So essentially, that fucks over federal legalization. I know a lot of people are like, it's a possibility. It's gonna happen. I can promise you it's gonna happen. No, it's not gonna happen with these two. And if it does, holy shit, a miracle has occurred. But it's not. And essentially, the conservative side, the anti-Trumpers, the Republicans, have essentially figured out a way to lessen the blow of the Democratic Party and the differences that they see. And you see this actually a lot in Senate hearings and House hearings, where, yeah, you have some people that don't vote on party lines. We had that with CARES Act even. We had that actually even, the biggest one I think in my opinion was the impeachment. We had some Republicans literally vote guilty.
We had a Republican in the
did
Senate.
I forgot who it was. That's why I was thinking
Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney, yeah. So like we had some people that, voted against Trump. And that's the thing, is like, yeah, there is that possibility. We do have that. But at the same point, let's like not overlook the whole fact that basically, I mean, we do have, apparently, I don't know how true this is, debates. We're less than 90 days away. There's going to be debates, apparently. Yeah, wish that the best. But essentially, like, none of that shit that they're talking really, apparently, matters to a lot of voters. And it never did in the first place. But yeah. Now, here's where that's an issue. So, other than the fact of, like, deafening the blow of the Democratic Party in this aspect, they'd have one objective. No more Trump. And we also have both sides actually talking about this, because I totally forgot about this. Yeah, so they admitted it during an interview of how they're doing this whole common enemy thing. And that was basically here. Trump is a singular danger as far as I'm concerned, said Tim Miller, that's the guy who we were talking about earlier, a senior advisor to the group who previously worked under Jeb Bush's Oh, he was a Republican National Committee, Jeff Bush's governorship, and John Huntsman's governorship as well. He's totally Republican here. And he said that Biden can win the election by improving on Hillary Clinton's performance in basically giving them the free, like, advice, but at the same time, what it creates is, yeah, they have a singular purpose: get rid of Trump. Once that objective is complete, they're going to be going back to their camp, which is, fine. Except for, at that point, you've already been like, well, there's not that much divide between us two. So some left, center, more centered than left, leaning people will go over to the right. So they'll be more conservative. So you're essentially like kind of pushing the needle over. The problem with that is flipping people, yeah, is one thing, but let's talk about the fact that this actually happened, that Trump was actually elected. That's a problem. It's not, I mean, it is Trump. That is one thing. Or, yeah, sorry, I thought I said Biden, but that is Trump. That is one thing. But at the same time, you're also, taking votes from Biden, or you're taking votes from Trump. That's fine, but what you're ending up doing is you're kind of pushing that needle over, just ever so slightly. And then some people who would be on the fence may vote Republican next because, hey, these guys are nice. They saw that Trump was a problem. They admitted their mistakes. Why don't I just vote for the other side? Obviously they're nice guys in the first place, right? It's the same thing with left. There's that whole, healthcare, unlimited healthcare, not unlimited, but like universal healthcare, the employment or the basic income credit or something like that. Basically, like, hey, we're gonna help you out. This is the party. The party is, hey, we're gonna help you out. We know about the little guy. We care about the little guy. You should vote for us. That's essentially the same thing. It's both. Republican, yeah, smaller government. Democrat, bigger government. That's basically the difference here. And when you blur that line between bigger government and smaller government, or this is one thing that they're for and this is one thing that they're against, when you're blurring that line and you're saying, well, the only thing I care about right now is Trump and getting him out, you're going to confuse some people, and that confusion might lead to losing that person. Some people are on the fence, and those are the voters that, you should probably care about. The people who are on the fence are usually pretty easy because they're looking for information, they're trying to come up with a conclusion. Nobody's going to ever say, vote this guy. You want this, vote this guy. You're going to say, hey, this guy is for this guy is for that, and this guy has a different view about this issue. You come up with your own conclusion. That's the only way you're going to swing somebody. And telling somebody who to vote for is not going to work. They're just going to leave more confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the problem here is there's also Pew Research had come out with a thing like last year, basically talking about independence when it comes to partisan politics. When we talk about Democrats and Republicans, we're talking about partisan politics, which, by the way, isn't like the best thing in the world. By the way, just want to make sure that I'm making that clear to everybody. I'm not like for partisan politics, but I'm also not against it. But they essentially, this interview or this research had come out, essentially saying that the people who are independent, in the middle type of thing, they view partisan politics in a negative view to both parties, left and right. And about a quarter of both Republican-leaning people and Democrat-leaners, a quarter of each, view both parties unfavorably. So you got people who are not happy with their party, but at the same time, you have almost the same amount of people, 24 to 27. The same amount of people view the Democratic Party unfavorably. And 37 of those have no partisan leaning views. And about 1 in 10 partisans view both parties negatively. So you're not really... The thing that they're setting out to is leaning people, taking people from the left to the right, and, you know, some people going from the right and choosing left after they decide to get rid of Trump, because they then realize that, hey, we were actually the problem. Our party was the problem. Our views was the problem. And that's the reason why Trump is here. And we all got lied to, basically. This is the problem right here, is that they're not going to lean. You're just going to essentially get rid of Trump and not fix the problem that created him. So it's going to happen again. History does have a way of repeating itself. We might get rid of Trump. We might get Trump 2.0. Like, if it's not 2 years, it's a very short-sighted move too. If not 4 years, not 8. Somewhere along the lines, we've got to understand that, like, hey, first of all, partisan politics, not the best view. Second of all, if you sign up for the Republican, like, kind of like what you were saying, like, hey, you're for these things, but at the same time, like, you're not going to sign up for a party saying, I am Democrat, everything the Democrats view, every single position of theirs, I agree with. And you're not going to say, the Republican Party, every single one of their views, I agree with. That was made very evident in North Dakota. But yeah, essentially, don't hate Democrats, don't hate Republicans, make your own decisions on who you want to vote for. It's up to you. But one of the things that you should realize is there's a huge disconnect between the issues that everybody's voting on and the actual people caring about those issues. Because at this point, it is not about cannabis. It's not about healthcare. It's not about any of that. And we've seen some views like, hey, you know, we should get rid of, we should have a mask mandate. That was another one. That was the one last week. Like, okay, this is very short-sighted. Like, if Biden wins and is president, it'll be too late to have a mask mandate because, well, hopefully, or we'll be close to, we'll have a vaccine at least. Like, the issue might still be there, but we'll have a vaccine. So you saying there's that you should have a mask mandate is basically saying, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. That's all it is. So, yeah. That was my extremely negative view. That was super positive. Well, it wasn't positive, but it was in the middle. It very quickly after just kind of like running through it back to back, went really negative. But yeah, basically what I hope Lincoln Project does is I hope they do get rid of Trump, obviously. But I also hope they fuck off. Like, after they're done, go away. It's already done at this point, so, yeah. Very negative view, is what I'm saying. But yeah, I don't know, like, what do you think? Like, when it comes to, because you were saying, like, you were leaning Republican, but you're
yeah,
more...
I've always leaned more towards Republican
views.
You know, but like when I go to vote, to me that's where I said like how I'm not like hardcore, you know, I will stick with what the Republicans are doing kind of thing. So it's like if I know there's a candidate that's, you know, even Democrat that's, you know, leans more towards my views or whatever, that's who I vote for. I don't ever ride along party lines.
Yeah. And that's another thing. It takes... Okay. There's a lot of issues in life. Again, this is very negative. I don't mean to be. There's a lot of problems in society, in life. Okay, there's a lot of different views that you have on a day-to-day basis of issues that you encounter. Who in their right mind needs somebody to tell them that this is the right answer? That, hey, you're a Democrat? Okay, you believe in this. If you have to sign up for a certain, basically, a skeleton of answers and views, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Like, if you need a party to tell you how to feel and how to see something and do something, you should probably look into the issues in your life and see how many of those you actually agree with for that party. Because I can guarantee you there will be at least one that you don't agree with.
Mm-hmm. If you're in it just for partying, you're in it for the wrong reason.
Yeah. And, yeah, the one thing I do like about partisan politics is it's actually very easy to read. So, like, you see a Democrat, you know exactly what they're for. You see a Republican, you know exactly what they're for. It's when they step out of that line where you're, like, shocked, and that's the whole interest in politics for me. That's a problem. Like, okay, like, listening to people talk and stuff like that, and, like, House hearings or, like, Senate, which I do. I have a lot of free time at work, by the way. Let me just make that extremely clear. Like, I quite literally barely do anything at work, and I get paid for this, so it's, you know, whatever. I hate my job, but whatever. So I watch a lot of hearings and a lot of random politics, because it's easy to jump in and out of in between things, especially if it's headlines where you're just like, oh, that's what they're talking about. Okay, I don't care about that. I'm gonna go back to doing my job. Oh, I do care about that. Okay, I'm gonna slow down on my job. Just being like, oh, there's a D next to his name, then I know the answer to what he's about to say. Oh, there's an R next to his name, I know exactly what he's about to say. I know at least his view on that certain situation.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Like, people aren't black and white like that. And I really hope that people who do have that type of view at least kind of, like, I'm not saying there's some sort of conspiracy or anything like that. I mean, sort of, when it comes to that. There's a bunch of people who are just basically saying, yeah, I'm Republican only because they don't know what to think or say. Just look at the whole entire landscape of Democrat, Republican, anything like that, and you'll basically find a whole bunch of people who only kind of say that they're a certain way, but really are not, and that's the whole problem of partisan politics. And again, that's what I was talking about with independents. They're more likely to view both parties negatively simply because of that. So, yeah. Got deep fast.
We went on a little trip there.
Right? So yeah, this was just an idea, by the way. So like, if you did like this type of, I mean, obviously I'm not going to just keep doing the Lincoln Project and talking about partisan politics. My next idea, again, these are basically phenomenons. So like, just kind of like, this is not normal type of situation, which seems to be the landscape right now. And I know this is going to turn into a meme of the landscape, but like, look, it's hilarious. It's hilariously sad and it's hilariously funny. And so the next thing I was thinking about doing, and I don't know if I'm going to do, simply because I know it's a lot of research, but QAnon. Because that's turned into the forefront. 4chan, just in general. But yeah, like, if you like this type of, you know, idea, comment if you liked it. If you hate it, please make sure to let me know. I would be more than happy to stop. This was about 3 or 4 hours of research, so, you know, it's not the end of the world if I can save about 4 hours of my life something that everybody hates, I'm totally fine with that. But yeah, like, comment if you liked it, comment if you hate it. Yeah, but I don't know. That's all I have. Do you have anything?
No,
No? Okay.
no, honestly, this past couple weeks has been a shit show, and yeah, I really feel like the people of North Dakota deserved a lot better than what all of our effort turned into.
Yeah.
I believe.
Especially if it's like your own. Okay, I'm not saying friends, but like people I associated with, just kind of being like, "Fuck you," and I'm gonna do whatever I want, and I don't care. On multiple occasions. But yeah.
And you know that's what it was. Is ultimately when we put this together, and I've gone on about this more than I can count, but I'll say it again. All all we needed was structure. You know, I listed out a hierarchy
Yep.
of how to go about this. That way, anything that needs done, you know exactly who to talk to, and there was committees. So I mean, there's only like 4 committees, and then those 4 committees, they had a lead, and then they had the people that were part of the committee. You know,
Yeah.
and it was really simple. You know, like your committee does something, that lead brings it to, you know, the chair, or if that committee needs money, that lead takes it to the finance lead and shit like that. Like it was perfect-ish. But I mean, it was a solid hierarchy that was organized, and it would have been so efficient. And
Yeah.
I'm disappointed because all of the people that started, like the organizer, and you know, like pretty much everybody who was in a leadership role should have had my back
Right.
when I said, what happened to the organization? Why aren't we following some sort of organization? Grassroots, and I said this openly, grassroots doesn't mean do whatever the fuck you want. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it just, we deserve better than that. Especially you and I. I mean, like, you and I, you
We
know,
worked a
especially
lot of
you.
hours. Yeah.
I mean, you tenfold more than even me, and we put our heart and soul into this.
Yeah.
For,
And
you know, for what?
I was gonna show the little thing that we decided that we were gonna bring up, but at the same time, you're on your own, and yeah, if you think you can do better, then go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is, by all means, you know, if you think that the months and months of work that we put into this, you're just gonna throw together with, you know, a little Wix page or something like that, have at it. I can
Right.
tell you right now, you don't even understand the work that goes into this.
Not to mention, like, the Wix page is so static that there's like really like no inspiration that can be gained from having something like that. Like, at least get somebody who runs WordPress. But yeah, that's just tech shit.
Yeah, I
Um,
digress. But the point is, we deserve better, but the people that this affected, and that's the biggest thing that pissed me off when I read that you were supposedly disenfranchising medical patients. When we dumped our heart, soul, and I can't even tell you how much money I
yeah,
have invested in this, let alone everybody else,
I still have contracts that I still have to pay. Like
right? And
the
it's like,
music, even though I
how
didn't even play it today, I still
how
have to pay
dare
that.
anybody say that you're disenfranchising anybody when the only thing that I really care about is if it's going to be the medical patients, it is going to be the soldiers, it is going to be the people who are hit the hardest by this, not making it to the election and not having even a fucking chance.
And
Those are the people that I hurt for. Fuck the money, fuck the time, fuck the effort. These
right,
people now have to wait even longer for
yeah.
any hope to have a normal life.
And the thing is like you just mentioned that whole thing of like, that it was a lot of wasted effort, and there was a lot of people that did and didn't even realize it until it was far too late, only
Right.
because of the way people view things and I mean, there's sides to the coin when it comes to, hey, everybody has a say, and they do what everybody else wants them to do. Like, there's two sides to the coin. There's good ideas and bad ideas. One of the things that we really were trying to do was like, hey, let's all work together. That obviously did not occur. And like, there's people, like, I just pulled up a text. Not gonna say who it is, obviously, but this was the 17th. Yep. So the 17th, we turned in, or we were supposed to turn in on the what was it, 20th? Yeah, the 20th. Hey, this is blank. When do the petitions need to be turned in? I said we are submitting it on Wednesday, the 22nd, at 10:30. So I would mail them this Saturday or Monday. If you would like for priority mail, we've noticed first class is 2 days, North Dakota to North Dakota, and priority is next day-ish. Okay, who do you want me to mail it to? Like, this is somebody who, like, wanted to submit in signatures. Right after that, they're like, no, I only have 4 signatures. Well, I said, it's all good. If you have a local bank account, they will notarize for free. Any amount of signatures counts, and the most that they can charge you is $5, unless they have to drive to you. So, like, we're going to be talking about disenfranchising medical patients. We can also talk about disenfranchising voters. And that's a whole other problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really... Look, it's out of my hands. It's out of everybody's hands. It's whatever. You guys want to do it? Go ahead. I mean, I support the measure. I just don't have high hopes for it in passing, because there's a lot of problems that doesn't seem to be really addressed, which means that, no offense, but circulating for something that's going to have to get voted twice is a problem. And the fact that not taking a stance on that is a problem, because that directly affects you. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I have, at least. So
yeah.
If you did like this video, this 2-hour-long video, this is the season premiere. Okay, everything else is gonna be shorter.
That lady right there. That's the lady that tolerates my shit doing this.
Yeah, mine's out there, but she's probably like, hey, well, actually, no, she doesn't work tomorrow, but usually she's like, hey, I work tomorrow. Can you calm down and quiet down? Because bedroom's like literally on the other side of this wall. But yeah, if you like this video, make sure to share it. Also check us out. Well, this doesn't make sense. Also check us out on YouTube, Canna Talk ND, which is the channel that you're watching this on. I try to like tweak it a little bit, but yeah, this is a lot of stuff that I still have to do. But yeah, if you like the show and you want more, make sure to check out Canna Talk with Wilson on 95.9 Radio Free Fargo every Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m. If you're not in the Fargo-Moorhead area, look on your podcasting platform for the same day, or the night at least, if not the morning. So like if I post in like the middle of the night, you can listen to it in the morning. You don't have to wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning just to listen to Greg talk for half an hour. That's about how long there. Huh?
Dude, you're no fun. I want to listen to Greg talk.
Dude, I felt bad when I couldn't sleep, so I decided to like upload Canna Talk at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And so like I'm just like, well, I don't have access to the Facebook page, but like I need this reposted. So I like texted at 4 o'clock in the morning to some guy like, hey, I really hope you don't have your ringer on, but like, yeah. But yeah, it'll be on podcasting platforms that night, if not in the morning, and that goes from every Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m. The next few days it would be on YouTube. Again, they're kind of changing things up. We're also changing things up, by the way. There's going to be a whole new look, new thumbnails. Just the one that is up right now is just a frame from the video, but like I kind of want to go back to like the uniform thumbnails that we were doing before. So yeah, there's gonna be new thumbnails, banner actually, rather than not many options for a banner type of situation. Yeah, we got a new logo. If you can't see, this is a really, really neat logo that I think is really cool. And yeah, let's just show this off. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Here we go. There's the big logo. So, yeah, this is our new logo. And it is, yes, it is in 3D. Yeah.
Right on.
Gives us a hell of a lot more options.
So there's your preview. There's more to come.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's totally cool. I really love it. Super proud of it just because, like, this was just a day type of thing. And only because I was still working. Otherwise, I could have done this in like an hour. But, yeah. I've been always, as far as the 3D stuff and everything like that, I've been working with, like, a YouTuber. And still work with him. But, like, at the same time, like, hey, I need to learn. So, yeah. That's all I got for you. My name is Phil.
I'm Anthony.
And this has been Canna-Heads. We will see you guys next week on Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Probably. That whole problem is still going to happen, by the way. Let me just... We're still going to be, like... We're not going to be spotty. I'm going to be doing every single week. I can promise you that. But it'll be anywhere from 7 to 7:30. That's something I can't promise the exact specific time. But, as you saw it, it's on your YouTube feed. You can see, like, hey, this is an hour away. And we'll make it on that one. We're not going to, like, miss uploads. So, alright. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
You guys
Bye.
have a good night. Bye.